in assists, rebounds, and points. He is the key. Can they disrupt him? Can they make it difficult for him in that point forward role?
Sims in all orange. It's Steph Mitchell in the home white as we are underway in Chestnut Hill. A terrific college basketball Saturday continues here on the ACC network. This Clemson team a week ago, their last game, totally took it to Louisville. A big-time win, trying to capitalize on that, and they pick up where they left off, a big-time triple. Alamir Dawes, the freshman guard for the Tigers, knocking it down.
And Derek Thornton was there. It wasn't really bothering, wasn't great ball pressure. Amir Dawes just knocked it down. He was great in shoot-around. He was drilling threes consistently, the freshman.
And Derek Thornton back into the starting lineup for Boston College. He missed Wednesday night as Popovich travels, but he is back after some back spasm kept him out against the Cavaliers. DeLuccio checks out. After 41 seconds, so Jay Heath gets inserted into the Eagles lineup.
He's like, man, Pop, why'd you have to travel? I didn't get a touch. I didn't even get a chance to jack one up. I did want to see if he got just a touch, and I want to see him let one fly.
So how does this Clemson team pick up where they left off? What was the key to that Louisville win?
Well, they came out with great energy, and they shot the ball. They take a ton of threes. Top 20 in the nation in terms of how many threes they take versus how many field goals they take. They've already hit 2 and taken 2. It's easy to say, but it's hard to do. When this team makes threes, they literally can beat anybody in the country. We've seen them beat Duke and Louisville when they are missing, which they have done more often than not at 32% on the year. They can get beat.
Jared Hamilton, that one falls off the rim. Clemson running up to Dawes.
That is atrocious transition defense right there. Nobody got back. Jim Christian looking at his guy saying, what are we doing? Popovich is going to try to be there to not let them come off the ball screen, but the weak side has to slide over and help. There was none of that. Popovich late to recover, and Sims, 40% from the 42% from the three-point line in league play, knocks down the open 3. He's going to be living out there in the top of the key. Popovich has got to be better defensively, and on the offensive end, they tried to do it in the first possession when Popovich traveled, is go inside to him. Maybe you can get a foul or 2 on Sims, disrupt his rhythm, get him out of the game.
Sims really is a matchup nightmare if you're an ACC coach, because he can beat you so many different ways.
If you're any coach, I don't care if you're the ACC or any league, because that guy is one of the more versatile, talented bigs in the nation and presents a ton of problems, and they use him very well.
Heath trying to get the Eagles going. That goes begging. Offensive rebound falls to Mitchell. Here's Heath again, this time on the drive, and he can't convert again. Sloppy start for the Eagles early. This is John Newman coming off a career-high 23 points against Louisville. Draws the foul.
You take a look at Sims' numbers, as we mentioned. First in points, rebounds, total assists. Look at this game against UNC and Duke and Louisville in those wins. Almost 20 points a game, almost 60% from the field, hooking guys up. Again, you'll see him operate in that top of the key, especially in the middle of the court, because there's no help side in the immediate time. So he can drive that big when it's like that, and then when he designates a side, they have a lot of dribble handoff action, back screens, cuts. I mean, they backdoored Duke to death, and he was hooking guys up.
That's a microcosm for this Clemson team. Almost the bigger the name, the better they are, especially at home. It's been the road struggles, just 2-6 on the road, trying to change that against Boston College. Off to a great start, up 10-0. The Eagles just trying to get something going offensively. Jared Hamilton kicks it out to Mitchell for a 3, well short.
Clemson is really locked in defensively. We're communicating really well. Guys are helping the helper. They're recovering and contesting hard. That's a little bit of a quick trigger by the freshman. Things are going well. You're getting good offense run. You can get that shot anytime.
Hamilton a transition 3. It's good and much needed. Here's Newman working on Thornton. Takes it hard and draws the foul.
Tough cover for Thornton. Newman, bigger guard, real quick, coming off a phenomenal game at Louisville. 23 points, 7 of 9 in that game. He was the picture of efficiency.
It's funny, we were speaking with Clemson head coach Brad Brownell, and he said, I'm trying to get the kid to shoot more.
Yeah.
Usually it's the opposite.
For sure. He has the green light. He just doesn't like to go through it. Yeah, there's his numbers against Louisville, but in terms of Brad also saying his understanding of the game is still growing in terms of when to pick his spots, how to know where to go, when to do it, how to hook up a teammate. He's still learning the game, but he's got a ton of natural skill and a very talented young man.
Popovich going to try a triple.
Sims closed out so hard. Next time Popovich has that pick and pop action, maybe a shot fake and try to get in the lane. He is also a versatile big that can really score and pass as well, just like Sims.
This is Curran Scott, thought about a three. Finds Sims. Count it, plus the foul. Amir Sims showing why he's so tough to handle.
Great job by Curran Scott, little pocket pass, and Sims
knocked off then number 5 Louisville 77-62 a week ago. They have brought it here to Boston. Dallin Cuff, Jay Alter with you. When you look at this Clemson team, there's so much that you like. It's just about putting it together. Let's take a look at your game plan brought to you by Principal.
Yeah, a couple keys for each team. When you look at Clemson, defensive communication, that was really a big part of their shoot-around because BC runs a lot of good stuff, and it's not patterned a lot of times. You got to talk through it, and a lot of things can spontaneously happen. They've done a great job of that so far. Make shots. That sounds easy, but it really is a key to this team, and it's key to every game. But these guys in particular, they take so many threes. They've got to make them. They've done it early in this game. BC, lock into the game plan. Know where, how and when you're helping off of Sims. Communicate, rotate properly. They have not done that. And speaking of Sims, he's been outstanding. They have not disrupted him at all. He's gotten the shots he wanted and the spots he's wanted. He's helped his teammates. They've got to have better ball pressure on him when he's out of the top of the key especially. A little bit of zone. I like this move, 2-3 to change it up because right now Clemson's in a groove offensively.
Jim Christian will not be happy with the way his team started this game. Certainly did not lock in immediately into that game plan. Here's Tevin Mack on a three. Too strong. Offensive rebound. Extra pass goes to Scott. Can't hit it. Another offensive rebound. Sims puts it up. That one rolls around, doesn't fall. And finally, BC can grab the board.
Clemson's one of the worst offensive rebounding teams in the league. BC has to clean up their glass. A lot of times they don't even crash it that hard. You can't give them extra opportunities.
Thornton can't knock down the step back.
Mentioned they got to make threes. I mean, for this team, Clemson shoots 47% of their shots are threes. That's 19th in the country. So if they don't make them, which they haven't this year, they've shot 32%, you can't win games. They rely on shooting threes, and Brad Brownell says they're better than they've shown as Curran Scott takes it to the rim and finishes.
Boston College just no offensive rhythm. How do they get going early in this game? Well, maybe it's Jarius Hamilton.
That ain't it. I think they've taken a lot of quick shots and a lot of quick threes. Jay Heath is an outstanding player and on cue, off an offensive board. That helps. I think they've got to run a little more offense. Make Clemson move, get into the second and third side, and challenge them to keep guarding. That is a terrible pass and going to lead to a run out for Heath.
Easy 2 for Heath. That's 5 points in 15 seconds for the freshman.
And I really, again, that zone, really like this change up. But that was a bad pass by Curran Scott. Bad turnover, but it has put Clemson on their heels a bit as they're trying to think about how to attack it versus when they were in the man-to-man, they were just cruising.
Max in trouble, has to get rid of it, finds Sims. Heath again there for the takeaway. It'll stay with Clemson. Tuesday night, you can catch Duke as the Blue Devils chase a #1 seed. They're in action against Wake Forest. It comes to you 7 Eastern time, Tuesday night, right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app.
Duke got a big game coming up tonight, too, trying to get back on track after that NC State performance where I believe we call that sleepwalking into a road game with a rival. You end up with a 20-point shellacking.
You think they rebounded a big way tonight?
Yes. I think they're ready to go. Virginia
Tech visiting Cameron Indoor.
That's a young team going into Cameron for the first time. Obviously not an easy place to play. They'll have gotten an earful all week. Coach K will have those guys fully locked in and ready to go. Good ball pressure by Stephon Mitchell, but again, you see where he had great job. Great defender. He's got long arms, stays in front of the body on Sims.
But Boston College gives it right back. Steph Mitchell, no surprise he comes up with the steal. He leads the conference in steals. This time Sims hands it off, and it leads to 2 from Alamir Dawes. It's a great big man battle between Sims and Mitchell today.
I like this little isolation. Mitchell can go at Sims.
Picked up his dribble, has to get rid of it. The freshman C.J. Felder's first touch, 5 on the timer. Mitchell has to hurry, decides to pop and hits it.
Very versatile young man, giving them something on both ends right now as they cut the lead to 4.
He really does it all.
Yeah.
And he fills up that box score, one of the more underrated players in the league.
I mean, Jim Christian saying before, if he's not on the all-defensive team, they should just throw that award out.
Stop doing it.
Which he's right. He does affect play a lot of ways in the defensive side of the basket. He's there and help side a lot. He stunts well. He reads the game. He, of course, great at steals. And again, Dawes gets an open look against the zone on the backside. Heath's closeout just wasn't quite good enough. But Dawes, like I said, he's just shooting it really well right now. Seeing a big basket.
He'll make you pay. This is C.J. Felder, and he's fouled. He'll get 2 at the line when we come back. Clemson with a 10-0 start early, and then these two teams trading punches in the early going of this first half.
See, Mitchell, this is a tough shot. Step back over Hunter. Tyson knocks that down, but this is what he's more known for, is on the defensive side against one of the best bigs, most versatile guys in the country. Stays down, gets his long arms on the ball, ignites the break the other way.
Now they're just a team that lives and dies by the 3 now, and more than almost 50% of their shots have come from deep.
Yeah, take a look at these numbers. They're 19th in the country. Almost 50% of their shots, as you mentioned, are from threes. Tonight, 6 of their 11, so they're above 50%. 38% of their points come from the three-point line. That's 31st. The problem is they're shooting 32% of the year, which is 228. They really rely on the 3, and they have died by it in a lot of games. They don't manufacture shots on the free throw line that well. The free throw rate's not that high. They have a good 2-point field goal percentage. They just don't tend to take as many, obviously. And that's why my key was, make shots. And they're like, hey, thanks for the hard-hitting analysis, Bozo. I'm sure people are out there saying that, but this team more than most, I'm sure. But this team more than most have to make shots. Otherwise, that hurts their defense. When you miss shots, you can't get in the offense. You can't set your D. And the offensive end, obviously, those points kind of are important.
My question to you is, why do they keep shooting? If you're 228th at 3, I would think, okay, that's not the DNA. Let's adjust and shoot less of these.
The problem is, as I talked to Brad about, he said, hey, in practice, we shoot better than that. There are times where, like, you gotta play to your personnel. This group doesn't have, Elijah Thomas isn't on this squad. You're not gonna pound it inside to somebody. Sims is great in terms of great post position, good angle, and good delivery.
Pounded inside there. Trey Jemison, the sophomore, delivers the slam.
But they have personnel that can open up the floor, play 5 out, and use a lot of motion, use a lot of cutting and screening, and be effective that way. In that offense, the way they play, you're gonna have good looks. The question is, can you make them? And they've missed them more often than they've made this year, with the exception of some really big wins.
Boston College goes inside. This is Jarius Hamilton. Decides to pull the trigger. Too much on it.
Again, not a great shot. They never got second or third side. A contested, fade away. Not really what you're looking for. It's a quick call there. Jemison wasn't quite set. Jemison comes in, big body though, physical guy, 7-foot sophomore. Look at him work Popovich up the line. Popovich's body position was bad. He didn't break contact to get around. He chose the wrong time to try to get around, and a great entry pass by Hunter Tyson, who's come on and gives some good minutes.
I just loved so much that, as you're saying, this team doesn't pound it inside. They go right to the big 7-footer.
I mean, I don't really know what I'm talking about anyway. I'm just running my mouth.
Now, Boston College, considering how slow they've started offensively, only down 7. Nick Popovich showing off the handles, but then handing off.
Dribble.
Heath on the drive. Didn't have an angle, didn't matter.
Good body control, good use of his body, really leaning into Alamir Dawes, forcing the issue, making him give some ground, able to get the shot up. See how they're playing the icing this ball screen. Look at Heath's feet. He's not letting him come back to the middle. Back to Jemison, trying to keep it on one side. They got to switch.
Tried to go back inside. Mitchell read it the whole way. Popovich trailing 3. Can't connect, but it falls all the way out to Hamilton. Popovich had his pocket picked by Hunter Tyson. Tyson trying to take it all the way himself. He does, plus the foul.
He's given some great minutes. It's coming on. Great steal, making good passes. Really smart player.
Our next All Access with North Carolina basketball comes to you Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, right here on the ACC Network. Love watching this talent. You get an inside look at Roy Williams' season. And honestly, it's must-see TV.
Yeah.
How is this team handling the adversity? Last-second loss after last-second loss.
It's been unbelievable what they've gone through and how they've lost games. And this is actually, you know, having fun with it. Muffin McGraw, who's going through it at Notre Dame right now. Support group meeting, former champions on handling the adversity of the season. Yo, Steve Kerr, we're holding a spot for you. Which Kerr responded. He replied on Twitter and had an image of it. He said, I don't know, all's good here or something. Paraphrasing, with a gif of a guy jumping off a mountain.
Yeah, the good thing with Steve Kerr is, you know what? They're getting the #1 pick more likely than not if they win the lottery.
And they made some moves with that trade that frees up some dollars if they want to just be in the luxury tax. Golden State will be fine. They'll be quite all right with Steph and Clay coming back healthy.
I think all three of those coaches will be fine.
They all will be. They're all having down years, but they're brighter. I mean, UNC's got 4 McDonald's All-Americans coming back. Cole Anthony, he may return as well. I mean,
really?
His dad said there's a possibility. I mean, if that's...
Would you?
If I were him right now, I would seriously consider it because his stock has dropped. He was people thought preseason top 3, top 5 pick lock. Right now in the latest mocks on ESPN, he's an 11 pick, and you're seeing that he doesn't necessarily do anything at an elite NBA level right now. And he's had the injury issues. Obviously, family money is not a concern, having a dad play in the NBA for so many years. I think there's a situation where if he came back, he could actually benefit his stock in terms of him being in the league and being able to impact a team. You see it with P.J. Washington, recent years for Kentucky. He stayed, he come back another year. He's been better. When he left, Nick Richards, another Kentucky guy, came in. People thought he was one and done. He's a junior, one of the most improved players in the country. That'll improve his opportunity in the NBA, and I think Cole may benefit from it too. The question is, this draft is pretty weak, so next year's draft could be different. He could slide, but my question is, will you be able to be on a team and compete and play at the NBA level versus being a two-way player in the G League, which I think where he would be heading.
Steph Mitchell uses the pump fake, takes it hard to the hole, puts it up and in.
Man, he is really just such a versatile guy that changes the game for them. Great ball fake. He had that great steal earlier. It's just a smart player making smart plays.
Jim Christian said we might not have one ACC win without Steph Mitchell. He's that much of a game changer.
He's a winning player. And this is Jay Heath getting on the ball, causing a tie-up. The energy on the BC side, the defensive side, has been much better. And offensively, it's just a really smart play. Great ball fake. Gets Sims just to stand up a bit. And that's a tough finish with Tyson coming the other way, late on the help. Tyson late there, and Mitchell made him pay.
So much fun watching Mitchell and Sims on both sides because both guys really defend.
Yeah, and I think this is a much better matchup for them. He pressures Sims better. He can disrupt him, as one of my keys to kind of make him uncomfortable, not operate their offense as well. A little bit better than Popovich can.
Heath, a deep three. Left it short.
Box out by Sims. You see, look at his skill level, too. He can pull down the rebound and brings it up. Puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Trying to feed it inside. He's got the freshman Felder on him. Great pass and an easy up and in for Tevin Mack.
It's where the freshmen, you got to be solid. Freshman, Jay Heath just turned and ran at Sims. He was worried about Sims, but Mitchell was right there. But he left his man, lost sight of Newman and a great Mack and a great cut and a great pass.
Mitchell launches a three, can't hit it. Clemson stepped on The out-of-bounds line, but the Tigers still an 8-point lead. Handling business so far.
Freeze it, guys. Mitchell realizes that he got a mouse in the house situation with Heath, a point guard, on a 7-footer. So Mitchell's going to come off this and make an amazing steal. This is understanding the situation, having the feel, and then having the athleticism to get in there and make the play. That's why he should be on the all-defensive team. That's why he helps them win games, not to mention offensive skills. It was an understanding, a recognition, and then going and making a play.
This is a Boston College team that has 7 ACC wins. Jim Christian told us at shoot-around today we'd have 0 without Steph Mitchell. He's that good on both ends of the court, but particularly defensively.
Trying to get Popovich a touch against Sims in the block, but there was no spacing to have it.
Thornton lost it off his foot, somehow bounced to Tevin Mack. Tough take from Curran. Scott lays it up and in.
You got to turn and be aware. Nobody had their eyes on the ball. Everybody with that transition defense was not crisp, not clean, not communicating well.
Clemson has made 7 straight shots. They started hot and they have stayed hot here at Chestnut Hill. Popovich, the answer.
Popovich must get hit in the face with that. He did not expect it. Great drop off by Jarius Hamilton.
And you've got Clemson shooting so well for this first half, and yet if you're Boston College, now you're only down 10. It feels like it should be more with how good Clemson has been offensively.
They have 7 turnovers. It's the only thing that's keeping them in the game. They're shooting 70%, but in a lot of it, Boston College is complicit in their own demise. Right there is a simple screen into the post. Again, no communication. If Sims catches, lays it right in.
Popovich.
Bad shot.
But Hamilton kept it alive. That one swirls around the rim.
Popovich wants to face and go at Sims. You got to try to go at him. Maybe you can get him out of the game with foul trouble, because right now he and the Tigers are running offense really well, but he's such a key to them doing that.
Newman a 3. It's good. Clemson cannot miss.
Hamilton didn't close out. As Mark Jackson says, hand down, man down. He was not there to contest, and Newman made him pay.
9 straight makes for this Tigers team.
Look at Jim Christian. Are you kidding me? Again, guys have to be locked in. They're not locked in. Check this out. Sims just cutting right in front of Popovich's face. A little brush screen by Newman. No communication between Jarius Hamilton and Popovich. That's a problem. Now Newman just pops to the top. Look at Hamilton. He's giving him 6 feet. You can make this like a Sunday Park shot. Jay, you could make that. And look at Jim. He's furious. And he's right. Are you kidding me? And the first thing he said, they are a disciplined team that runs good stuff. We got to be locked into the game plan, guys. Everything we talked about in shoot-around has to translate on the defensive end. For them, very little has translated on the defensive end. That's frustrating for a coach, because you're telling them all the right things, but your guys got to go execute.
And Clemson is shooting 13 of 17 from the field.
Is that bad?
13 of 17.
Was that wrong?
76%. My goodness.
It's right now, it's a basket or a turnover. That's what we're looking at every time down.
And I guess the question is, if you're a Tigers fan, has this team found something? And if so, is it too late? They're 13-12 right now, 7-8 in conference. You have 2 top 5 wins. Really figuring out that road puzzle. They're 2-6 on the road. If they can figure that out, they have a shot at the NCAA tournament.
That's the easier said than done piece. You know, to win on the road in any league is hard, and you've got to be able to go out and perform. And for BC right now at home, I think they should go back into a zone. I think they ran some zone in the middle of the half, and it changed up the rhythm of the game. It got them some turnovers, and it slowed down the Tigers. I think they need to look at that again right now, because their man defense has been pretty atrocious. There you go, 2-3 zone. Got to get a flash in that high post. That ACC area is when I see somebody come in there looking for the ball.
Alamir Dawes keeps it going for Clemson. That's 10 straight makes, and he's 5 of 6.
And Jay Heath's got to run the pass, know who the next pass is. He's got to know that he should have cheated out there and try to have a little better contest on Alamir Dawes, because the way he's shooting it right now, he's got 13 points. You got to try to run him off the line a bit.
Boston College trying to counter with something. Jared Hamilton thought about it. Instead, put it on the floor. Heath, a really deep three. It doesn't fall. Knocked around. Sims got to it first, but a jump ball is the call.
First to the floor. Sims and Popovich are battling, but Sims got down there just a second before him and able to get the tie up and maintain possession.
I got to give you credit.
What you got, man?
I did want to mock you for saying Clemson just had to make shots. Well, they are shooting Boston College out of their own gym right now.
I try to make it as simple as possible for folks. We can X and O stuff all day long, but in the end, when you're running good stuff and you're getting guys good looks, sometimes you got to execute and make shots.
They've made 10 of their last 10. Still shooting 75% even with that miss. As we take a break with the Tigers leading by 15.
They're relying on making threes. They're getting good looks. The problem
the bubble yet, but they could certainly play their way into the bubble and into the tournament.
They have a path forward. Those 2 top 5 wins are huge, and you got to string together wins. If you won 2 games, you have 3 more road games coming up. Excuse me, 2 more road games, and a massive opportunity again at home against Florida State. If you can beat Florida State and win, I think, at least 3 of these last 4, so you would have won 7 of 8, 2 top 10 wins. I think that moves you into the conversation. We saw their net right now is in the 80s. Last year was the first year of the net ranking. The lowest team to get in was St. John's with a 73. So it's been done before. Their numbers could move in the 70s and 30s. Now, we're assuming all these wins. You got to win the games. You got to put it together, and that's the biggest thing. Is they can find some consistency, coupled with those resume builders they have, they could get into the conversation. And we've seen it with Arizona State in the Pac-12. I've mentioned this already, the broadcast. They won 6 straight. They went from out of the talk to into the field, and that's in a bit of a muddled Pac-12 with a couple decent wins. That is a good illustration to me of how Clemson can go, but you got to get the dubs.
And it started with shooting the basketball well. Clemson shooting about 75% from the field. That one poked away by Popovich. Here's Steph Mitchell. Boston College really heavily playing through their big men so far. Has a mismatch on Newman. Decides to kick it out, though. Hamilton steps into it and drills it from deep.
Tevin Mack, just a little bit of overhelp again. He didn't need to dig down that far. They were all locked in. There was no movement on the weak side. They had 5 guys, and Mitchell was 15 feet from the hoop. Didn't need to step to him there.
Mitchell laying out. Have to love the hustle from Boston College. They've forced now 9 turnovers. Trying to cash in on the offensive end. Hamilton leaves that one short. Clemson takes a timeout. You said it earlier, Dallin. For a Tigers team to be shooting 75% and only up 10, it's an indictment on ball security. They've turned it over 9 times in this first half.
It's like a bucket or a turnover right now. Now, they haven't gotten killed off the points directly. BC's only scored 6 points off turnovers, but when you're shooting at that clip, if you can be a little more secure with the rock, you could have a 15, 20-point lead in this game.
A reminder, Nothing But Net every Sunday on the ACC Network Weekly Basketball Studio Show. We'll give you the best of the week that was and take a look at the week to come. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app.
Special guest tomorrow, Jordan Cornette joining the crew. Carlos Boozer, unfortunately, going and paying homage to Kobe Bryant, his former teammate and friend, passing away. So JC steps in with Luke Hancock, Kelsey Riggs, and myself.
Certainly a lot of talk as February will quickly become March, and where are these teams going to end? In the ACC, you've really had 3 locks for the entire season. Virginia, another tough road win today, inching closer to that. Okay, well, there's at least going to be 4.
Yeah, I mean, I've said for about a month now, it's going to be 4. Virginia now has played their way into. They're not even on the bubble right now.
Right.
In my mind, they're into that 10 seed. They move to a 9 seed range, depending upon how they finish. Offensively, they've made shots. They've run better offense. Kie Clark, Tomas Walda, Tensine, others have been much better, and their defense is always stout.
Tough take from Derek Thornton, and the Boston College leading scorer gets it to drop.
It's a critical last few minutes here. This is a double-digit game that feels like a bigger than 8-point lead. If BC can cut this thing to 8 or lower and go into the break, they've got to feel pretty good. That is not going to help.
Big three from Amir Sims.
The pick, the pop, the weak side, no help, no stunt. Again, things they went over and shoot around. Sims steps in wide open and knock it down.
Popovich working on Sims. Falls off the rim.
There it is again, pick, pop. Now he's got Thornton on him. Oh, if he just could have just stepped back and then reversed it, got in the post.
Hamilton drew the contact, couldn't get the bucket.
See, this is the stuff we talk about. Executing defensively versus are you executing offensively. This is exactly what I want to do. Get the pick, make two play one, throw back. Mitchell should be stepping up there. He should just sell out and leave Mack, and they should rotate, or he should at least stunt at him. But he was that open, and he's that good of a shooter that he's got to read that and just go and not necessarily worry about his man. Believe that his teammate will help the helper and somebody will rotate over. They didn't do that, and Sims wide open.
Clemson will likely have that 1 second separation between the shot clock and the game clock, so they could hold for the last shot of this first half. Tigers led by as much as 15 earlier in this game. Eagles have clawed back, cut it to 10.
Big possession. You want to go in with some momentum, try to get a stop here, leave it at 10, and go regroup, especially defensively for BC.
Five seconds to shoot. Alamir Doss rattles in and out, but the follow. Sims is there in perfect position, and the first half ends just like it started. The Clemson Tigers playing really good basketball.
But when a team's shooting 70%, it's hard to get in it that often, and some of the turnovers they've created are dead ball turnovers, so they're not able to run off of them. Only 6 points off those 10 turnovers.
Back underway with Alamir Dawes. He leads the Tigers with 13. Sims has 12. Those two a combined 25 to Boston College's 29 total.
Interesting first set. I like that they tried to go right at Jay Heath, put him in the post, and have John Newman go in the post against him. Sims' delivery in the entry pass not good. I like that first call. A little surprise look to get Heath in some trouble. He's not a great post defender, as many freshman guards aren't.
And Clyde Trapp back into the game for the Tigers. Interesting, the junior only played 2 minutes in that first half. He's usually up over 25. Here's C.J. Felder.
Yep.
And a charge.
Good take by Trapp. He was standing there. It's like a bowling pin almost.
Yeah.
And somebody addressing the line. He was just waiting for a good two, 3 steps. Just hanging out. He slid a little bit, but yeah, I mean, Felder was on the spin, a little out of control. He was there for a while waiting for it. Felder's got to be smarter. See again, Heath icing that screen, trying to force him to one side. Good read by Sims, skip past buckets.
Alamir Dawes will make you pay, and he's made Boston College pay all night long.
They've great adjustments because they're not letting him come off the ball screen, because when you do, you have that pick and pop, and that creates a problem. But right now, how they're slipping out of the ice and they're getting the ball reversed, that's causing some issues.
Dawes now with 4 threes. He started hot and has stayed that way.
Take a look again. Sims just kind of slips to the basket, forcing Thornton to help off of Sims. Alamir Sims in the rotation late from Felder. Again, 5 guys working together. Felder's got to realize that guy's wide open. He's got a hot hand. He's made 3 already. Run at him, call the switch, and be in a scramble situation. Dawes has been excellent. As I said, I'm watching him shoot around. I didn't see him miss a 3. I mean, he was just stroking it. He is shooting with tremendous confidence in this building.
And with Trapp missing half the season, Dawes was thrown right into the fire at his first-year freshman year. He stepped up to it and been really good for this Clemson team. Devin Mack fouled on his way to the hole.
Again, Sims just understands the game, not sped up, pops over, and now they get to draw so much attention. He makes 2-play-1. See Felder fake at him, but then stayed. There's no help with him. There's no rotation. Now, the one thing Mack should have done is use the rim as a defender. He should have gone reverse and laid it up. He went on the same side, allowing Felder to contest it. It's called helping uphill by Felder. He helped up, and there was a guy behind him. You're exposing the basket.
You liked it a lot when Boston College, Jim Christian moved into that 2-3 zone. They were pretty effective in it. Since then, gone back to man and haven't had the same success.
I know you're worried about, and against the zone, you might have some openings, but when you're in the zone and you're locked in at what the next pass is and you're communicating, you can still limit threes, and I think that might help their ability to get some stops. Good battle by Popovich, but couldn't get the tip.
Two bigs for Boston College, Mitchell and Popovich. They've been terrific all season. They battle. Because when the other team's shooting 70%, you're going to find yourself in a big hole.
Ball screen, they clear out the side. They're switching, and Thornton's got a mouse in the house situation.
Mack a wide open three. He's got it, rattles in for Tevin Mack. And Clemson has its largest lead of the night at with the loss today. They're in the first 4 out. But what do you make of where the ACC stacks up right now?
I think those 4 are going to be in the tournament. The question now becomes NC State, and they have 2 home games, 2 road games. They got to go at UNC, a team that's lost 7 straight, home against Pitt, at Duke, after beating Duke by 20+. I'll tell you what, they ain't winning that game. I don't think that's going down. What a throwdown by Kamari Williams. And then they host Wake. So I think you got to win. You have to win the games you're supposed to win there, 3 of the 4, and then you get in the ACC tournament. And that's the wild card. You want opportunities. You want to see Louisville, Duke, or Florida State to get a chance to pad your resume on a neutral court.
Clemson has that opportunity. They take on number 8 Florida State in the regular season. I'll tell you who I wouldn't want to see, and I know it'll sound silly because they're 15 out of 15, as Dawes continues to stay red hot with a 3. As I would not want to see North Carolina and Roy Williams, because they are certainly capable of beating you, and if they do, it looks like such a bad loss. Could really tank your resume.
That's the hard part. It's about the numbers. Now, when you're on the road a little bit, it won't hurt you as much as losing to them at home. But that said, that team still has talented players. But today, Garrison Brooks didn't play to an illness. Justin Pierce was out. I mean, there's always somebody out of the lineup, and they got just destroyed at Louisville. And that team's obviously confidence is struggling. And that's a rivalry game, too. So you would think they're still going to show up for that one. Trapp gliding.
Showing off Clyde Trapp. It's his first bucket of the night.
And then, obviously, we talked about Clemson already. They're not in the discussion yet. But if they win down the stretch, especially if they beat Florida State, I think they're going to find themselves in the mix with these 5 games. If they win 4 of the 5 and they get in the tournament, or when they're in the tournament, another opportunity or 2, it could happen.
Popovich left it short. He'll get 2 at the line. Dawes now with 5 threes.
It's a guy you can't afford to lose as he kind of holds his ankle. He's asking to come out. That's unfortunate for the freshman. Now they're icing that ball screen, but when you ice it, you don't want to let him reverse sides, but you can't just give him the lane. Popovich has got to be there. He was able to drive right down the lane, skip it across to Dawes, who's now hit his 5th 3 of the night. I'll say it again, I do think a zone, I mean, you might want to mix something up right now because they are in a complete groove. It was an 8-point game, folks, with 1:50 to go in the first half. It is now a 23-point game. I'm no mathematician. I think that's a 15-point swing in about 6 minutes of hoops.
It is. And really, it's just Clemson making shots. It really is a simple game, and Brad Brownell was actually laughing with us at shoot-around because we always try and get good stuff from coaches, and when a coach says, we just got to make shots, it's like, well, it's a cop-out. With Clemson, it really is true.
I mean, I say it sometimes, too, when you're analyzing a game, because you can X's and O's all game long, but when you're getting good looks, you just got to make them. And right now, they're getting great looks, and they're making them. And they did that at Louisville, and they're also defending well, too. They're defending BC below 40% from the field, making it tough for them. They did the same thing against Louisville. Same thing at Pitt. So this team is really playing much better on both sides of the ball. And playing with confidence. Good cut.
Poked away by Boston College. Clemson shot 70% in that first half. In the second half, they're shooting 80%. Still can't keep control of the ball, though. Another turnover for the Tigers, and BC capitalizes on it.
It's been their Achilles heel. If you're BC, you're carving this thing up into 4-minute games. You got blown out the first 4-minute game to start the half. Can you win the next 4-minute game and chip away this lead, get it to 12 or 13 by the 12-minute mark? They're doubling Sims. Great read, good cut.
Everything is coming up Clemson right now. Sims
in their own demise at times, not able to close out or execute defensively, excuse me. And apparently a band named Dawes opened for Dylan back in the day, says our director Mike Roth.
Just beneath the surface.
He is just beneath the surface, and he's also never going to play second fiddle, apparently, to Amir Sims. Yeah, he's the headliner today.
I was going to say, he's not the opening act. Tied a career high with 19, and we still got 15 minutes, so more than certainly going to pass that. You know, it's funny, Clyde Trapp, he tears his ACL in June, doesn't get surgery until July. Now, Brad Brownell's thinking we might lose this guy for the season with how long it takes to rehab from an ACL tear. He ends up coming back in December, 4.5-month rehab. And since he's come into this Clemson lineup, it's allowed Dawes to go from point guard to more of a shooter scorer where he's much more comfortable, and you've really seen his production rise.
Yeah, and a lot of times still they play through Sims anyway, so that point forward position allows Trapp and Dawes to play off the ball at times. And he's been great. He should be studied. He should be at Oxford or Cambridge or somewhere. I don't know, Yale, Harvard. Somebody should figure out how in 5 months, his knee brace is still there. How do you go from surgery to hooping that fast is insane.
And you can see he really does have almost like a robo right leg.
Yeah.
I mean, he's well protected. But again, you would think you would lose that guy for the season, and he's not as explosive as he once was, nor would you be. Yeah. But he's on the court. He's able to give this team much-needed minutes, and the guards have really flourished, Newman included. But, I mean, Alamir Dawes certainly not playing like a freshman, and a lot of that was because of the minutes he got with Trapp out. The one bright spot today for Boston College, Steph Mitchell, that time comes up empty. Great defense from Sims.
He was straight up. They wanted a foul, not getting it in transition. That's a good look for Max. Just couldn't get it to go.
Rattles in and out. Felder the offensive rebound. Puts it back up and is fouled on his way there. Tuesday night, check out the #6 team in the country. Duke Blue Devils in action against Wake Forest right here on the ACC Network. Game tips at 7 o'clock, also on the ESPN app. What do you think? Do the Blue Devils get to the 1 line?
They have the wins. Obviously, Kansas win continues to look better as Kansas beat Baylor today on the road. So Kansas can be the #1 team in the nation. Duke beat them to start the season. They beat Michigan State at Michigan State. They have a couple other really good wins.
Kansas, right?
I said Kansas.
First game of the season,
yes. And Michigan State are their 2 non-conference wins. Obviously, they have some good ones in league play, particularly that Florida State win. I think they can play themselves onto the line. The question is, will anybody on the 1 line fall off it? That's the issue, because Baylor's not falling off with a loss at home to Kansas. Those 2 teams are in. I think they're going to be a 1 seed no matter what.
And if Gonzaga and obviously San Diego State win out, they're both 1 seeds.
They're both 1 seeds. I will say this: if Gonzaga loses tonight on the road in BYU, which is 20,000 people there, one of the hardest places to play in the country, they do not fall out of the top 4 in my mind.
Really?
They remain a #1 seed. That is a really difficult game against a top 25 team with 3 dudes that can really score it: Jake Tolson, TJ Haws, and Yoli Childs, with a matchup nightmare. That team is really good, the Cougars are.
The Zags have a lot of non-conference wins that people don't talk about too.
Yep. That's a credit to Mark Few knows. You gotta play tough games when you're playing the West Coast Conference, and he does that now. And they've had some really good wins in non-con that'll help their resume. San Diego State is a team that can't survive a loss in the Mountain West. If they lose the Mountain West, they will be out, and they will give Duke an opportunity. Now, that said, we did ask Joey Brackets on ESPN a week or 2 ago if Duke could jump them without losing. There's a potential, depending on who Duke beats. They'd have to win the ACC, win the ACC tournament, and who are the wins along the way to win the tournament may give them a chance to jump San Diego State in resume, or potentially somebody else. But that's tough if the Aztecs don't lose.
That's at the 1 seed conversation. Clemson trying to play their way onto the bubble. Looking for a 23-point lead, and they get it through Hunter Tyson.
Good skip pass. Good read by Dawes. The help was just a little too much on the weak side. He skipped it right across the formation. And the ball pressure's got to be better, so you can't do that.
Tigers shooting 70% from the floor in this game and 56% from 3. They're in the midst of, I would definitely say, their best 3-game stretch of the season. You go at Pittsburgh and win, then you beat number 5 Louisville, and now laying a beat down again on the road in conference. This team was 11-12 before this 3-game stretch. They were dead.
Yeah.
And they have played their way back into the conversation. Tigers with their foot on the this one hot off the press. NC State, despite the loss to Florida State, they are still the last 4 in. They're actually the last team in the field. But more importantly, the Seminoles have jumped in to the 2 seed line. We were just talking 1 seed, 2 seed with Duke. Florida State now a 2 seed, and they've got Louisville Monday night, big Monday. That's, I mean, can't get a better matchup than that.
Huge game. Obviously, Florida State beat them in Louisville earlier in the year, January 4th. Those teams will play again to Monday night, as you mentioned. And that game essentially is who's going to be on the 2 line, because right now Florida State is the 8th overall seed, the last of the 2 seeds, where Louisville is the 9th team, which is the 1st of the 3 seeds. So if Louisville can win on the road, especially because of road win, they will flip-flop for sure. And NC State, because of results today, a lot of teams on the bubble lost around the Wolfpack. The Wolfpack stay on that line because their loss isn't a bad one to Florida State. They stay in per Joey Brackett's. Now, folks, he does usually get 1 or 2 teams wrong.
Right.
I know
he's not perfect.
Some years he is. Some years he is, and he will kindly tell you that when he is. He's outstanding at what he does. He's been doing it for years. He's set an industry, man. He's created an industry that every network tries to replicate.
Now there's too many bracketologists.
He is the guy.
Yeah,
he's the one that is most tuned in, that has the most deep research and knowledge done in this, and is the most consistently successful across a number of years. So we'll see if the Wolfpack, though, again, we mentioned, they have their opportunities. They got games left. They got Duke on the road, which obviously their opportunity, but I don't think they're winning that game. But they have other games they should win down the stretch, and then the ACC tourney.
And I think the winner of that Louisville-Florida State game, as you said, they will be the 2 seed. I think it'll stay that way. One of those 2 teams will end up on the 2 line.
Well, I think so now, just because, again, you have to look around the rest of the country. WVU just has been in a real struggle. They've been living in struggle. Seton Hall's been a little more up and down. That's a team that was competing on the 2 line. As those teams struggle, that allows your statement to be, yes, I think that's accurate. So, but the situations can change around the country, obviously. Oh boy, it's coming to me. It's going up. I want it to come about 6 inches higher. Catch it in the shot pocket, just stand up and fire it from midcourt. Boom! Buckets!
When he has the ball in his hands, there's never a shot he didn't like playing for Columbia.
Fluorescent green light, my friend. Fluorescent green light. Now, my man Mike Roth, the director, Rothy right on it. Had me on the follow-through and everything. Didn't know he was there. Too bad I couldn't catch the rock.
That's okay. Somebody at halftime came up, and I thought they obviously would want to talk to Dallin.
Nobody wants to do that.
Because they said, you coached me at a basketball camp. And I'm like, oh, cuff. Like, some kid wants to get, and he's like, no, you did. I'm like, oh, I am so sorry. You must have learned absolutely nothing that summer.
Ironically, I was like, what camp was employing you? No, I'm just kidding.
We got a Rex Chapman blocker charge alert.
Let's take a look here as Dawes comes in, and he can still move if the offensive player initiates the contact. I don't think I think there was some contact there, but I would not be a charge in my mind, because Jared Hamilton did not lay his shoulder into him, did not push off. That's a tough call.
It's a career high for Alamir Dawes, staying red hot. He's got 6 threes and 22 points.
They've got 18 assists on 25 made field goals. They are sharing the rock and making shots. And another charge called here.
This time it's Amir Sims on the charge. Everything coming up Tigers.
Take a look out in transition. Curran Scott drops it off, and Dawes hunting threes, hands and feet ready. I mean, he is seeing a big basket, his 6th triple of the night. Now back-to-back charges called on BC. Jay Billis had a great line. Refs do love to make the charge motion, that they love to put the hand on the head and just point the other way. He said if the motion was downward facing dog, I think we'd see less charges. I think he's absolutely right, in all honesty.
It's like an umpire for the punch out.
Love to do
strike 3.
Everyone wants to go Frank Drebin from Lethal Weapon and do their whole,
yes.
performance. Question is, how many people listening know what Lethal Weapon is?
I got it. I got the reference. My dad educated me on that one. Clemson can't miss right now. That one, a step back from John Newman. Jim Christian has seen more than enough. Takes another timeout. Clemson started this game on a 10-0 run, and they have just padded this lead firmly in the driver's seat. During the timeout, we'll remind you, you can catch North Carolina Roy Williams basketball going all access Monday, 8 Eastern time, episode number 5, right here on the ACC network and the ESPN app. You thought you'd be following a team as they contend for maybe an ACC title. Instead, you're seeing when a season goes totally and utterly wrong, which is just as compelling. And this North Carolina team, they're losing, but they're losing in gut-wrenching, heartbreaking fashion.
They have 8 games where they've lost within the last 27 seconds the lead, or have gotten tied to go into overtime and lose the game. And mentioned earlier, Muffin McGraw, the support group. Obviously Notre Dame going through their struggles. A couple former champs. They called out Steve Kerr, a former champ himself. All 3 of those programs are franchises. They'll be really good next year as they reload. These programs don't tend to rebuild, they reload. But that Carolina, like that, unfortunately, I know quite a bit about losing college basketball games and some losing streaks. So that show, it's even more interesting than it is watching them be the traditional power. It's when you're going through that, when you're going through the unraveling, people are seeing stuff they don't normally see as far as how you handle that type of adversity and how you deal with that as a program and a team, especially one that hasn't had a losing season since the previous millennium almost.
So how do you handle it?
You got to stay together. It's the hardest part. How tight is your locker room? That's how things unravel. So, I mean, I know I played on my team freshman year where guys mutinied against the coach, and it was a complete unravel. I mean, we stopped having practice at one point. It was like Dr. Phil sessions. It was a complete joke. I was like, this is college basketball? And then we had a new coach come in, Joe Jones, and who coaches at BU right now, just down the street, and turn things around for our program. But, you know, when you can really see the anatomy of how things come apart. And UNC, the way they're fighting and competing in some games, you don't really see that. But that Duke game, losing that way, after that, I thought it was really possible they did not win a game the rest of the season. Because when you lose in that way, it's really hard to bounce back. And they've had some games again where they fought Notre Dame and they lose in heartbreaking fashion.
Virginia, brutal loss. I mean, that was Tom Walden 10 side. The presence of mind to shot fake that, move over and hit the triple. And you start to think, we're snake bit. Like, there's nothing we can do right. And then you have those performances against Louisville. How do they respond in their next game, getting just shellacked by Louisville on the road is a question for a team that, man, it has been a shocking season of struggles for them. And right now they sit dead last in the ACC. Still wouldn't want to see them in the ACC tournament down there in North Carolina. You know,
wouldn't that be the story of the year? I don't think it's going to happen. Wouldn't that be unbelievable?
I wouldn't want to see them. I'm not gonna sit here and say they're gonna win it, but I just would not want to play them.
They still have a lot of talented players, but obviously the injuries and some confidence issues, and still trying to figure out how to skip past by Sims. Cole Anthony still trying to figure out how to play within the concept of everybody else and get some guys involved at times. Hands by Mitchell.
Leads the ACC in steals. That's his 4th of the night. Heath trying to cash in on a 3, and he does.
That's been the biggest issue, is your defense a lot of times helps your offense, particularly BC. When they can go into transition or into secondary, they're a much better offensive team. But when a team's shooting almost 70% against you, it's hard to get out in transition consistently, and that's just too easy. There was never any help. He's able to get right into Thornton's body and finish.
I've said it a couple of times. You know, it's been on Clemson, no doubt about it. Tigers have this game handily from start to finish. But Steph Mitchell has been a real bright spot for Boston College. The hustle, the motor is just something to be admired.
Yeah, the understanding. He's a smart player on both sides of the ball, and he's a very versatile player. He can do a lot of things for you. Unfortunately, they haven't done enough. Good cut, good pass by Sims. I'll tell you what. These guys look like a tournament team right now. And I don't know, being perennially the best conference in the country. That's not that this year. And that's because the teams in the back end have gotten a little better, but the teams in the middle are not consistent. They can have good wins and pop up and beat anybody, but they also can lose to anybody in the conference. And that has not been the case in years past, partially because the back end may have been a little bit weaker, but I more argue that the teams in the middle were better, more consistent. That's why they are usually tournament teams. That's why we're talking about 6, 7, 8 tournament teams out of the ACC. This year we're talking about 4, maybe 5 at the absolute most.
Tigers have come into Conti Forum and shot Boston College out of their own home arena, shooting 70%.
That's bananas, man. And again, it's part of Brad Brownell's team, how well they're playing, but also how BC has not executed what they want to do defensively. But Clemson is carving them up. Any mistake they are being paid, that is being paid for. They have doubled them up in the field goal percentage. Field goal percentage 70 to 35. And BC, also a team where, again, you got to be able to make some shots. They haven't had a ton of great looks. They haven't run great offense in this game, and not getting stops has hurt their offense in terms of getting in some transition and some secondary opportunities.
Jay Heath knocks down a triple. He certainly played his way onto all ACC freshman team.
Seems that way. He's a very talented young man that can make a shot off the bounce, can create his own, create a shot opportunity for a teammate. As he continues to grow and understand the defensive responsibilities, what you have to do, he'll be a very good player in this league.
Sims got there for the contact, but it's called the block, count it, plus the foul.
That's the thing. I mean, Sims is not he's not that big. He's 6'8", but has long arms. You got to go contest that shot, try to wall up. He's trying to take a charge. He ain't me. He's not a 6'2" guard running back, 6'3" guard. He can get up. And he's leaning in the shoulder right there. He's initiating the contact. That's a good call by the official, but I'd like to see him try to go straight up and down and make him finish over. Gives them a chance to get in their pressure.
Well, making shots like Clemson has done, you just said it with Boston College, it allows you to set up the defense you want to play, so it's much easier to play defense and get stops where you're coming off a make.
Your defense is connected to your offense. Again, they go through the icing. Good help late by Heath. And actually, Dawes should have just taken the shot. He should have challenged Heath at the rim.
Clemson does have 15 turnovers, but turnovers get masked when you're shooting 70% from the floor. Very rarely you can afford in an ACC road game to turn the ball over 15 times and be up at all, let alone up 20.
Good point.
Rocking the rim, Hunter Tyson adding to the Clemson lead.
He just cut right in front of Derek Thornton's face. Thornton lost sight of him, and then he got right in front of him. Didn't make any effort to make a play on it.
You said it earlier, Tyson, when he's on the floor, he gives really good minutes.
He has given great minutes. He's made the right cuts. He's made some good plays offensively and defensively, the right reads.
That time called for the block, got it the way of Popovich on the other end, the sophomore showing off the hops.
Nice job by Trapp on the skip pass. You see Thornton just gets face cut on the baseline. I don't think you must never see that, or back cut on the baseline. He's just lost total sight of his man. Was glued to the floor. A good cut by Tyson. Throw down. It's a nice victory trip for Clemson heading back to South Carolina. They're going to go to 500 in the league, 500 in their overall record.
How about this? In 14 minutes, Tyson's come on, 11 points, perfect from the field.
Efficient.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
That season of Curb Your Enthusiasm so far. Folks, if you don't watch, you are missing out. Larry David's a genius.
Best show on right now?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
So you've got Clemson closing in, as you said, on 8-8, and I think more important than anything, believing that they have a future in this season. When they were 11-12, you're thinking, man, even if we play well, even if everything goes our way, I don't know if we're going dancing. Now, you have a real possibility.
Those two quality wins, because that's the thing, is like the committee will look at the Q1 wins and the Q1 losses, obviously, and some other losses they have. They have some bad losses as well, but those ones over Duke and Louisville can turn the tide when you're comparing other teams that have wins over teams between 20 and 30 on the list in terms of, you know, the quality of the win. I think that may be a tiebreaker situation. That's if they win. I think they've got to win down the stretch, you know, 3 of the next 4 games if not every game, going to the ACC tournament, not just for how they're playing in momentum, but for that resume to get in the discussion. Because right now they're on the outside looking in, but this road win will be a decent, still a decent win for them because you're on the road.
Hemingway off the bench, comes in, nothing but net. Tigers up by 21, and it's really still the starting lineup besides Hemingway in this game.
Think about the depth, too. When Hemingway came on at 16 points in the game last week, is that little unawareness there to get the shot clock violation.
Now 3:13 left, and Brad Brownell's team up by 21. They've already hit 80. Tigers can't miss.
Shoot around. He was just knocking down shots so consistently, so fluidly, and that's what you want as a player. Carry over into the game when you're feeling good. Earlier in the day, you want that to carry over, and man, has it ever for him and his teammates. He's one of 5 guys in double figures right now. It's National Margarita Day. I feel like Brad Brownell might be partaking when he gets back to Clemson, South Carolina. A little celebration.
Why wait to get back? Get him on the charter.
I'm not sure that's really appropriate with a collegiate atmosphere. If this was a pros, yeah, the bottles might be popped. A little different.
You can find content like that tomorrow night on Nothing But Net. Dallin Cuff will be in studio, and he'll give you a look back at how he spent the rest of his evening. National Margarita Day here at Chestnut Hill.
Speaking of that, I gotta make it home before midnight to make sure I celebrate with everybody else.
And that comes your way on the ACC Network tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
One thing we will be talking about in that show tomorrow, which is important, is that Monday night, Big Monday game, Louisville, Florida State. We're breaking that down. I'll take a look back at some of the things that Louisville has to do better, especially on the road, to overcome Florida State. Florida State's guards kind of manhandled them, as Chris Mack said after that game. So we'll break down some of that, as well as I'm sure we'll talk about the bubble right now, Clemson, North Carolina State, and others.
I think you have to start including this Clemson team just because they've got the top 5 wins. They've got 2 of them. The only other teams to do that this season has been Kentucky and Louisville. So, I mean, you're one of 3 teams in the nation that have those 2 top 5 wins.
Kansas may be in the mix now, too, with Baylor's win. If you look at that. But Kansas is playing really well right now. Those guys, that's the best team in the country right now in my mind. And Duke is right there. I mean, Duke's just a younger team. That's my only question when they get in the tournament. They still have such a higher ceiling. They can still get better and still improve.
Yeah, they haven't played their best game, have they?
No, they've got more to go. It's just when those lights are bright and it's tourney time, I wonder how, you always wonder how young guys respond. And in recent years, you know, the one and done era we're in, it's really hard. I mean, that last time to get it done and win a championship was Gila Okafor's crew in 2015. But the difference with that group is they had Quinn Cook, a senior that's been through so many battles. They really don't have that guy. And Trey Jones, their leader, is a sophomore.
Credit Boston College. Again, they were really never in this game. Started in a 10-0 hole and couldn't climb out of it. They keep fighting, though.
This is like a leading question, leading the witness. That's Matt DeLuccio. It is senior night here at BC. He started the game, played 20 seconds. Will he get a little mop-up time in his opportunity here on senior night to maybe get a shot up is the question. That's what I'm focused on the rest of the game.
I would have said he would have had a better shot had not this team continued the hustle. They really haven't let the score affect the way they have gone after loose balls. Derek Thornton still taking it hard to the hole. I know you want to see the man put up a shot, but
I don't know if I do as much
like
as our director Rothy does, but I would say this, that in this atmosphere, if I'm Jim Christian, I'm not putting him in either, though. I mean, it's like you want to emotionally, but these guys still need to, you can still get better in the last minute and 30, 50 seconds, and they have not played their best game or close to doing what he wanted them to do today. So you want to, at least at some point, them to go out and execute what you're doing, what you want them to do. So let's see if they can do that in the last minute 40.
Better late than never, right?
As they say.
Trap fading away. That's the only one that didn't roll around and drop for Clemson.
That was one of their few bad offensive possessions. If that one was going and you just put your hand up like, we're at it. Can we end this thing?
But still shooting 70% from the floor. Amir Sims rips that one down for the Tigers.
Now, from a fan standpoint, they want 6 more points from their Eagles, not just because, you know,
why
it's
is that?
closer. They hit 70, it's free taco night here in Conte Forum.
And that goes well with National Margarita Day.
It's all coming together, folks. But that 3 would have been huge by Mitchell. The crowd is aware of this, to say the least. Trapped by one of those layups where you go to fire on your leg. It just doesn't, you can't get off the ground. It's weird.
Came back from a 4.5-month ACL rehab.
But that was on his good leg.
Right,
Saying
it's
sometimes
true.
it just happens to you. You just go take off and your leg doesn't fire.
So Clemson came out of the gates, scored the first 10 points of this game. Oh, hold on. Clemson putting in some of their bench.
Here comes
And here he
DeLuccio.
comes. We get what we want. He started the game, Matt DeLuccio, on senior night here at Chestnut Hill.
He's wondering who he should get. DeLuccio, I don't care who you get, but get the ball and get a shot up. Come on, young fella. Matty Ice, they call him.
And for Clemson, it's Paul Grind coming in for the Tigers.
I thought Matty Ice was trademarked to another BC quarterback, but maybe they're just repurposing here for DeLuccio. They need a turnover and
Get
a
a
shot.
stop. Get a stop.
Said like a true coach right there. Said like a true good camp coach, apparently. Get a stop.
Oh no, DeLuccio's getting posted up by a man who is 7 foot.
Mouse
And
in
it's
the
a
house.
travel.
Travel.
Mouse in the house. Play of the game. Hold on, hold on.
Oh, God. Straight up. He got
Yes.
a piece of the ball. All right, DeLuccio.
7 feet, 285 pounds.
Get a shot up.
This
Get that-
place will go nuts.
Hands ready. Yeah.
He
Boom,
wants
boom.
it.
Get
Oh,
it back to
don't
him.
pass that off. They go right
Take it
back
back.
to him
Pull
on
up.
the drive. Get it back. Swing it.
Reverse. Get it
Swing
reversed.
it. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Looks good. Oh,
No. No.
that was the most excited I've been all day. Except for dinner and margarita night coming up.
Clemson takes care of business on the road. It's now 3 straight wins for the Tigers, and they do it in a big way. 82-64 the final.
We said it. If this team gains consistency, 3rd straight win on the road, if they can put them together here down the stretch, Tigers could be dancing in March.
He's Dallin Cuff. I'm Jay Alter. For our entire ACC network crew.